It's early, he's awake before the alarm again, and for a second, before he stands, he just sits there, hand flat on the mattress. We'll come back to this exact moment at the end of the video, and by then, it'll mean something different. He used to just get up. Now there's a little push, a hand on the bed, nothing dramatic, just a habit he doesn't remember starting. Halfway up the stairs, he notices he's breathing. Same stairs, same house. 20 years. He catches himself in the mirror, looks at his arm, same man, different shape, flatter somehow, softer. He can't quite say when that happened, and that not knowing bothers him more than the softness does. He thinks about the guy from the gym. Big handshake, always there at 6 a.m. Then one week he wasn't. Nobody asked where he went. Everybody noticed the empty bench, and nobody said the thing they were all thinking. That could be me next. He sits down, looks at his legs. They're still his legs. They just don't feel like they used to. If any of that sounds like you, don't look away. Stay with me. You wake up at 53 and your legs don't feel like your legs anymore. Not sick, not injured, just lighter, weaker in a way that doesn't announce itself. Until one ordinary Tuesday, you're halfway up your own stairs, breathing harder than you should be, and a quiet question lands. When exactly did this start? Hold that question, because the answer is the whole video. This isn't normal aging you just have to accept. It has a name, sarcopenia, age-related muscle loss. It begins quietly in your 30s and 40s, and after 50 it speeds up. Here's the pace nobody tells you. After 50, you can lose around 8% of your muscle every decade. After 70, that climbs toward 15% a decade. And strength fades even faster than size, roughly 3% a year once you're past 60. That's not a scare tactic. That's the research most men never read. And here's the part most men miss. Your muscle isn't just there to move things. It's an organ. It talks to the rest of your body. Lose it, and your blood sugar control slips, your bones thin, your balance fades, and your ability to recover from anything starts to collapse. Men over 50 don't usually fall because they slipped. They fall because their legs couldn't catch them. Now, here's the good news most men never hear. Sarcopenia is not inevitable, and it's not a fixed sentence. Let me show you why, and exactly where most men lose this fight without even knowing it started. Sarcopenia is the medical term for age-related loss of muscle mass and strength. It starts in your 30s and accelerates after 50. Most men don't notice until it's already well underway. Remember our guy in the hand on the bed? That's underway. After 50, you lose roughly 8% of your muscle per decade, and most of it goes quietly, with no pain and no warning. Your muscle releases signaling molecules called myokines when it works. They help control your blood sugar, keep your bones dense, and even talk to your brain. Lose muscle, and you lose that chemistry, which is why low muscle tracks with insulin resistance, weaker bones, and faster decline. Muscle is also where your body banks amino acids, a metabolic savings account, and a falling balance shows up everywhere else in your health. Part of this is biology. Testosterone and growth hormone drift down with age. Your mitochondria, the engines in your cells, get less efficient at turning protein into muscle. This is the key one. Anabolic resistance. Your muscles get harder to stimulate. The same meal, the same workout you did at 40 now gives you a smaller response. You don't get less out of doing nothing. You get less out of the same effort. So the answer isn't to give up. It's to send a stronger signal. Most men file this under genetics. Just what happens to a body that gets old. Stop there for a second, because that belief is the most dangerous thing in this entire video. It feels like humility. It's actually surrender. The biggest drivers of muscle loss after 50 aren't your genes. They're two things you control. The first driver is protein. And here's where almost everyone gets the number wrong. You'll hear gym guys say, a gram per pound. For a 200-pound man, that's 200 grams a day, and the research does not support it. What the science actually shows for an older man fighting muscle loss is about 1.2 to 1.5 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight per day. For a 200-pound man, that's roughly 110 to 135 grams a day, not 200. The real target is lower than the bro science number and more achievable. But here's the catch. Because of anabolic resistance, it's not just how much, it's how you spread it. Aim for 25 to 40 grams of protein at each meal, not a tiny breakfast and a giant dinner. Most men hit maybe half their target and have no idea they're short. The second driver is resistance training. And again, the details matter. The evidence points to 2 to 3 sessions a week, adding weight training and building the resistance as you get stronger. The target to work toward is a load that genuinely challenges you, around 60 to 80% of your max, on compound movements like squats, presses, rows, and hinges. You start where you are and progress from there. Light dumbbells and endless easy reps feel productive, and they barely move the needle on sarcopenia. Without enough resistance, and without adding to it over time, your body never gets a strong enough signal to keep the muscle. You can train at the same easy weight forever, feel like you're doing something, and watch your muscle quietly disappear underneath the whole time. This is the cruelest version of the trap. It looks like effort and feels like virtue, while the balance keeps draining. This was never about looking muscular. It's about whether you can stand up from a couch without your arms, lift a grandchild, catch yourself if you slip on ice. Men with sarcopenia face higher rates of falls, fractures, hospital stays, insulin resistance, and faster cognitive decline. And the hardest number of all, across recent meta-analyses pooling tens of thousands of older adults, sarcopenia is tied to roughly 1.8 times the risk of dying from any cause. Not slightly, measurably. Here's the trap even informed men fall into, maybe especially them. They start strong, 6 clean weeks. Then work explodes, a trip comes up, the knee acts up, sleep goes sideways. So they tell themselves the most reasonable sentence in the world, "I'll take a week off." Picture our guy from the opening saying exactly that. The week becomes 2. 2 becomes a season, and the muscle he fought for drains away, quietly, the same way it left the first time. The man who quits for a few years and restarts isn't picking up where he left off. His anabolic resistance is stronger, his nervous system detuned. Rebuilding is harder the second time. And this is the truth most programs won't sell you because it doesn't fit on a sales page. Sarcopenia is not a 12-week fix. There's no finish line. It's a chronic condition you manage permanently, like blood pressure, like cholesterol. The current 2025 guidelines treat it exactly that way. Lifelong management, not a one-time cure. The men who keep their strength into their 70s aren't superhuman. 3 things relentlessly. Enough protein at every meal, resistance training 2 to 3 times a week without exception, and enough recovery to sustain it. So let's be clear about what to actually do. 3 levers. Protein, about 1.2 to 1.5 grams per kilogram of body weight, spread across your meals every day. Resistance training, 2 to 3 times a week on the big compound lifts, with a load that genuinely challenges you and earns the recovery it requires. You add weight as you get stronger. Not light, not easy. Challenging for where you are today. And recovery, enough sleep and rest that you can actually sustain the training. Because the goal isn't 6 perfect weeks, it's the next 20 years. I'm not going to nag you. You're a grown man. But understand the trade you're making. Most men say they value independence. And then their choices quietly say they value convenience. The real question isn't whether sarcopenia is preventable. It is. The question is the one our guy faced at 5:50 this morning, sitting on the edge of the bed with a hand on the mattress. Is your independence worth more than the comfort of doing nothing today? The muscle you have right now is borrowed, and the loan comes due whether you decide or not. So picture yourself 10 years from now, standing up from that couch without your arms, lifting that grandchild clean off the floor. That man is built starting this week, or he isn't. Decide. This video is the why. The sarcopenia solution is the how. A clinician-built protocol to protect your muscle for the next 20 years, not just 12 weeks. Scan the $27 code to get it. The other code is free. The Longevity Lab Guide to Reading Your Own Blood Work. Subscribe for more straight talk health breakdowns for men over 50. Then do one thing before you close this. Pick 2 training days and a protein target and put them on the calendar.